Hello, my name is Matt Yarrington from Sysec, and I'm going to demonstrate using ActivIdentity's Fortress Authentication Server to provide two-factor authentication to Google Apps. The first thing we need to do is create a user in Google Apps. So we log in as an admin user and we create a new user. Save the VIP. So I'm not going to set a password, just a username. We have an option to show the password there, but again I'm not going to do it because we don't need it. Fortress is going to do all that for us. So you see we've got our VIP03 user here and they've never logged in. Okay, so we have a user. Then our user already exists within our environment where Fortress is, and the user would now create themselves a soft token. It's a self-activation process. So we go to the soft token activation portal, and the user identifies themselves to the portal using their Active Directory password. They could use another type of authentication mechanism, but Active Directory password is probably the simplest method for the user, that is. Okay, so now we have a token, Java token loaded on the right hand side of the screen in activation mode. We specify our PIN for that token and activate it. And the soft token has been activated for user VIP03. And just to make sure that everything's okay, I'm going to test that soft token. So I enter our username again. The user's personalised soft token loads for them. We enter the PIN we previously set into the token. A one-time password is generated and copied to the clipboard. So we can paste it directly in, click test, all done, good. Okay, so we have a user created within Google Apps. We have a corresponding user in our Fortress Authentication Server with the web token assigned to them. So all that remains to do is test logging in as our user. So let's have a look at what's going to happen during our authentication. There are three elements involved: the service provider, which in our case is Google Apps, the user agent, which is the user's web browser, and the identity provider, which is Fortress Authentication Server. First of all, the user is going to request access to the resource. This resource, in our case, is going to be the Google Apps login page. The service provider then sends a redirection request to the browser. The location of the redirection request is pre-configured within the service provider, so it knows where to send the authentication request to. In our case, it is the Fortress Authentication login page. So the user is redirected to the login page, and they're asked to provide authentication. In the case of this demonstration, it's going to be a username and a one-time password generated from a web token. Assuming authentication is successful, the identity provider returns a digitally signed SAML response to the user's agent, which forwards the SAML response onto the service provider. The service provider will then validate that digital signature in the response and ensure that it's happy with the response received, and then provides access to the requested resource. So let's have a look at this in action. I'm just going to log out over here. And click sign in, specify our Google Apps domain name and click go. We've automatically been redirected to the Fortress Authentication Server's web authentication page by the Google Apps system. Enter our username in there. Again, our personalised soft token loads. Enter the PIN for the token. The one-time password is copied automatically to the clipboard. Paste it in and submit. And we're in. So you've just seen authentication to Google Apps using two-factor authentication, which is made possible by the ActivIdentity Fortress Authentication Server. This gets over a lot of limitations with static passwords and enforcing password changes and so on, and is certainly a much more secure method than what you get as standard. My name is Matt Yarrington, and you can find more out about Sysec at www.sysec.co.uk.